Good evening and welcome back to the channel. It is January 25th, 2023. The time now is 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Hope everyone is doing all right tonight. Tonight we're going to be talking about that little device that you carry around all day, every day. Some of us even have the device under our pillows at night because we can't part from it. It's addicting. Did you know that that device has the ability to control your mind? So we're going to be talking about what our lovely smart devices do to our brain waves and how it modifies our behavior. And if you look deeper and do more research, can also damage your brain if you keep it close to you for the majority of the day. So this is an article from the Scientific American going all the way back to 2008. Many people probably have never read this article and were not aware that mainstream publications have admitted that cell phones do have an ability or do have the capability of changing your brain waves and behavior. So what they're saying on the Scientific American is mind control by cell phone. Electromagnetic signals from cell phones can change your brain waves and behavior. But don't break out the aluminum foil head shield just yet. So they're trying to soften the blow by, making light of the situation. So this is what they're stating. Hospitals and airplanes ban the use of cell phones because their electromagnetic transmissions can interfere with sensitive electrical devices. Could the brain also fall into that category? Of course, all our thoughts, sensations, and actions arise from the bioelectricity generated by neurons and transmitted through complex neural circuits inside our skull. Electrical signals between neurons generate electric fields that radiate out of the brain tissue as electrical waves that can be picked up by electrodes touching a person's scalp. Measurements of such brain waves in EEGs provide powerful insight into brain function and a valuable diagnostic tool for doctors. Now, indeed, so fundamental are brain waves to the internal workings of the mind, they have become the ultimate legal definition drawing the line between life and death. So brain waves change with a healthy person's conscious and unconscious mental activity and state of arousal. But scientists can do more with brain waves than just listen in on the brain at work. They can selectively control brain function by transcranial magnetic stimulation, which is called TMS. This technique uses powerful pulses of electromagnetic radiation beamed into a person's brain to jam or excite particular brain circuits. Now, what would happen to a person if they're receiving electromagnetic pulses into the brain via a beamed waves, or energy weapon. What does that look like? Would the person all of a sudden just go blank, pause because they can't think of anything or because they can't analyze or critically think? Could a person actually freeze and have, I guess, a mild seizure, concussion? So, although a cell phone is much less powerful than TMS, the question still remains: could the electrical signals coming from a phone affect certain brain waves operating in a resonance with cell phone transmission frequencies? After all, the caller's cerebral cortex is just centimeters away from the radiation broadcast from the phone's antenna. Now, over the years, we've heard people talking about cell phones cause harm to the brain. And for many of us, we've heard the word or the phrase, anyone saying this is a conspiracy theorist. But here we are, Scientific American in 2008, making that same claim. And the Scientific American is not just any old magazine or website. They're well known, respected, and they're making these claims. The first, led by Rodney Croft of the Brain Science Institute in Swinburne University of Technology in Melbourne, tested whether cell phone transmissions could alter a person's brainwaves. The researchers monitored the brainwaves of 120 healthy men and women, while a Nokia 6110 cell phone, one of the most popular cell phones in the world, was strapped to their head. A computer controlled the phone's transmission in a double-blind experimental design, which meant that neither the test subject nor researchers knew whether the cell phone was transmitting or idle while EEG data was collected or were collected. The data showed that when the cell phone was transmitting, the power of a characteristic brainwave pattern called alpha waves in the person's brain, it was boosted significantly. The increased alpha wave activity was greatest in the brain tissue directly beneath the cell phone, strengthening the case that the phone was responsible for the observed effect. Now, alpha waves of brains fluctuate at a rate of 8 to 10 or 8 to 12 cycles per second, hertz. These brain waves reflect a person's state of arousal and attention. Alpha waves are generally regarded as an indicator of reduced mental effort, quote unquote, cortical idling or mind wandering. So they're admitting that the cell phone, when it's sending out those pulses, causes you to basically go in a trance. That would be the better statement. Mind wandering is really you going into a trance. But this conventional view is perhaps an oversimplification. Croft, for example, argues that the alpha wave is really regulating the shift of attention between external and internal inputs. Alpha waves increase in power when a person shifts his or her consciousness of the external world to the internal thoughts. They also are the key brainwave signatures of sleep. So the cell phone, when it sends those pulses, can put you into the quote unquote sleep state, which would be trance, or which would be mind wandering. We also call that daydreaming. So it can put you into a daydream state. Cell phone insomnia. If cell phone signals boost a person's alpha waves, does this nudge them subliminally into an altered state of consciousness, or have any effect at all on the workings of their mind that can be observed in a person's behavior? In the second study, James Horn and colleagues at the Loughborough University Sleep Research Center in England devised an experiment to test this question. The result was surprising. Not only could the cell phone signals alter a person's behavior during the call, the effects of the disrupted brainwave patterns continued long after the phone was switched off. This is what they're stating. This was a completely unexpected finding. We didn't suspect any effect on the EEG after switching off the phone. We were interested in studying the effect of mobile phone signals on sleep itself. But it quickly became obvious to Horn and colleagues in preparing for the sleep research experiments that some of the test subjects had difficulty falling asleep. So even after you don't use the phone, it lingers and it causes basically insomnia. It can cause up to insomnia. Horn and his colleagues controlled a Nokia 6310E, which is a cell phone, another popular and basic phone, attached to the head of 10 healthy but sleep-deprived men in their sleep research lab. Their sleep had been restricted to 6 hours the previous night. The research then monitored the men's brain waves by EEG while the phone was switched on and off by remote computer, and also switched between standby, listen, and talk modes of operations for 30-minute intervals on different nights. The experiment revealed that after the phone was switched to quote-unquote talk, a different brainwave pattern called delta waves, which is in the range of 1 to 4 hertz, remained dampened for nearly 1 hour after the phone was shut off. These brainwaves are the most reliable and sensitive marker of stage 2 sleep, which is approximately 50% of total sleep consists of this stage. And the subjects remained awake twice as long after the phone, which was transmitting in talk mode, was shut off. Although the test subjects had been sleep deprived the night before, they could not fall asleep for nearly 1 hour after the phone had been operating without their knowledge. Although this research shows that cell phone transmissions can affect a person's brainwaves with persistent effects on behavior, Horn does not feel there is any need for concern that the cell phones are damaging. Right. Don't worry about it. Don't freak out. Just because it's causing you not to go to sleep, just because, those pulses are affecting your energy field. Don't worry about that. It's no big deal. It's no big deal. It's hilarious. Although this research shows that cell phones transmission can affect a person's brainwaves with persistent effects on behavior, he makes that statement, and then the arousal effects the researchers measured are equivalent to about half a cup of coffee, and many other factors in a person's surroundings will affect a night's sleep as much or more than cell phone transmissions. The significance of the research, he explained, is that although cell phone power is low, electromagnetic radiation can nevertheless have an effect on mental behavior when transmitting at a proper frequency. He finds this fact especially remarkable when considering that everyone surrounded by electromagnetic clutter radiating from all kinds of electronic devices. In our modern world, cell phones in talk mode seem to be particularly well turned to frequencies that affect brainwave activity. The results show sensitivity to low-level radiation to a subtle degree. These findings open the door by a crack for more research to follow. And we obviously 2008, we're in 2023. We now know that it does affect the brain. It does affect the body, depending on, what type of, microwave, electromagnetics, or pulses are sent to the human body. I forgot, there was a former CIA contractor several years ago that was talking specifically about cell phones and the software in the cell phones, and how the cell phones were able to send out pulses and, again, change the behavior of the individual who's carrying the cell phone. It not only couldn't surveil you, but it could affect your actual brain waves. So the technology is more advanced now. We have software that can do this, pick up your brain waves, send you advertisement based on whatever it picks up. We know that Facebook was doing something like this. And you can imagine what the military has available to go ahead and affect individuals during wartime or for military applications and for surveillance. So, this is a subject that we need to continue to talk about online and on platforms and on social media so everyone's aware not only what the effects are for your health, but the surveillance aspect of the technology. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like, subscribe, share, hit on notification for future live streams and videos. If you want to support monetarily, you can support at the links in the description: Cash App, Patreon, Bitcoin. If you want to send something through the mail, maybe information on some new technology that's coming out, or just want to send, other types of information, you can go ahead and send it to the P.O. box in the description. Again, mind control by cell phone. There's other articles out there that have updated the abilities and what this does to the body and the brain. And this is something that we should be discussing and talking about more and more in all platforms, in all media. This is the future, and it's affecting everyone. All right, guys, stay safe and have a good night.